Hello. I think our squad is extremely excited about this weekend and about advancing to the second round. It's getting back to a familiar spot for me, back in my neck of the woods from my collegiate career. So I'm very familiar with Duke University and their facility and playing on that field. So I'm excited to take our young, talented squad through this next round, and they're certainly prepared and ready to play.
What do you know about this Clemson team?
They're an ACC squad. They're battle-tested. They've had tradition in the past. They've had success in the NCAA tournament. Very well coached. Have a couple key personalities that we need to be very aware of. But I think overall, a very talented unit.
What's their style of play, would you say?
Well, I think they like to keep it. I think the ACC is a little bit like that style. Now that they have 14 teams there, it's possibly a little bit different from top to bottom. But I think Clemson would be a squad if you gave them time. They'd like to play attractively if they could, and they have some fast personalities up top. So I think that they would have the ability to get in behind as well. It's going to be a great match.
Coach, how big was it for you guys, for a team that didn't have a lot of experience coming in and really putting on a dominant first-round performance like that?
Yeah, I was really pleased. The players we were able to get them rested, get them some really positive touches, added a couple more layers after the Big 12 tournament, and they're finding joy in training. They're enjoying competing, and I think they're really excited to be learning how to be playing at this stage of the year. And ultimately, we're going to be experiencing playing 3 weeks beyond this point, and they understand that this is a stepping stone, and these are the kinds of weeks of training that they need to be really, really excited about. And they're coming with the equivalent level of professionalism that they need in order to advance in a second-round match.
How do you balance the difference between being excited about where you are and focusing in on what you need to do next?
Right. It's never to be accepting, right? We're in the second round. We should be in the second round, and we're looking to advance to the next round. And these are small conversations I have with our players. Are we satisfied with just advancing to the second round, or are we ready to take this next step? And I think throughout the course of the season, it's been next step, next step, next step. Obviously, being the first team in the conference to be able to beat West Virginia, that was a step that any team in our conference was going to have to take, and we took that this year. And then we needed a valuable response on the following Friday versus Texas Tech, and we did that. And I think every single challenge we've put forth to this squad all season, they've responded. So they're not content with just flying to Durham. They're ready to compete, and I was really pleased to be able to have that type of conversation with them.
Were you concerned at all losing a couple down the stretch? Did you kind of wonder how your team would respond since they hadn't really been in that situation this year?
No, I think if you're in the game long enough and you understand just the ebbs and flows of a season, the body of work, 14-3-2, being as young as we are, I always keep a very, very positive perspective. I really value our young players, and I understand the need to cultivate them and to forever have a positive outlook on every sort of experience. And you learn the most in moments of adversity. You learn the most in moments when you possibly don't get a result. And we haven't had to teach in those moments too often this year. So ultimately, we don't focus too much on a poor result, but we learn from that, and we quickly step forward and get ready to go again.
How would you explain Sierra's growth this year? Because obviously she was pretty good last year, but she's been great for you guys this season.
I'm pretty excited that she's representing the University of Texas. That's for sure. She has impressed me in her ability to be a teammate and her ability to possess the qualities of a world-class player and to be as selfless as she is. She has the ability to outwork people every training session, and she also is the one that's still youthful and young and joking and having her contagious smile in training. So I think she's naturally becoming a leader without even realizing it through example. And her performance this year has just been world class. I think the national team staff is well aware, and I just told them that they can take all the looks at Sierra Henson they want in December.
Did you guys, with all the people you had coming back, did you expect her to be kind of the breakout this year? Or is that going to surprise you and the staff?
No, she's talented, and we knew we had a host of talented young players coming in, and you know, the combination. I think any coach would tell you we're recruiting 3, 4, 5 years in advance, and you know, in the hopes that these young players continue to develop and bring the skill set that we see them when we're recruiting, and even better, more profound skill set when they step on campus. And I think for our freshmen that we added to the likes of Sierra Henson, they've just really molded well, and this is the expectation for Sierra. And last year she started the season a little bit of an injury and started 6 weeks into the season, so she didn't really get to catch full stride. This year she's been ready to go from the get-go, so I'm not surprised in the least.
Was it helpful playing North Texas to get familiar opponent you already played? Did that maybe dispel some of the nerves?
Well, I think to be, you know, if we're going to be really honest, there was a lot of players on that field Friday evening that this was their first NCAA match. So as much as I want to dispel any sort of little anxious thoughts, they're there. But they're competitors, so they need to be there and in a controlled fashion. And I think having played North Texas, we didn't talk too much about the familiarity, because I asked our squad, are we the same team that we were on August 25th? And they said, oh, absolutely not. I said, well, then let's not expect that North Texas is the same team. This is a much different opponent on a grander stage, and you're playing at home in front of fans that have supported you tremendously all season, and it's your job to execute. And I think that's kind of how we approached it.
Angie, how have you changed as a coach coming off of last year to the success you've had this year?
Well, I think I look much younger, don't you? You know, I think one of the things, if any player is going that has graduated, that is going to be interviewed, I would really hope that they would say that there would be a level of consistency that I would bring. Probably even a greater consistency in the moments of adversity. Last year, I had to carry all that weight because I knew we were doing great things. We just really weren't getting the results, and it was by one goal here, and maybe a poor decision there, and a lot of naivete, if you will. And I think all of that maturity has now found its stride, and for me, I think I'm continuing to remind myself that consistency, resiliency is the most important characteristic for any coach at the highest level.
What do you want to clean up most from Friday night's win moving forward?
Well, you know, it was a clean sheet. We have the school record in shutouts with a redshirt freshman goalkeeper, so that's pretty fantastic. We always like to keep that clean sheet. Had we won 1-0 and still accomplished that record, I think that probably wouldn't have had the same impact on our squad. The fact that we were able to put 3 in the back of the net after coming off of a really tough conference play was great. I mean, they had a great feeling. Could we have had more? Yes. Did we have unforced errors? Yes. Did we make some poor decisions going forward in transition when we had numbers? Yes. These are all things that we'll continue to polish up for this Friday.
And I'm curious about just the overall ricochet of the program and who you were. When Chris stuck by you and gave you a new deal, having a great season back in NCAA's, are you seeing a boost in recruiting? Are you seeing the interest back up again? Do you feel like that you're back on a permanent upward trajectory?
Well, the interest has been here in soccer, as crazy as it is. We're recruiting 4 and 5 years in advance. Haley Berg committed to us 2 months into my tenure here at Texas. We have, arguably on paper right now, the best recruiting class in the country in our 2021 class, right? So our 18, our 19, and our 20 class is going to be pretty special if they continue to do the things that we expect them to do in their development. So I think there is always a trajectory, and I can't thank our administration and specifically Chris Plonsky. I think she's brilliant at what she does. She doesn't react emotionally. She looks at a complete body of work, she is a great support for every single coach that has the privilege to coach here at the University of Texas.
And do you have any thoughts on the Columbus Crew maybe coming here?
My thoughts on the Columbus Crew, and I mentioned this to a couple folks the other day. My first thought is Greg Berhalter was a classmate of mine at North Carolina. He was a tremendous center back, and he just happens to be married to one of my teammates, Roz Santana, now Rosalind Berhalter. So that's my initial thought. Those are two of my buddies. And they have a wonderful family and great children. But beyond that, I think Greg is one of the finest coaches that I've seen. I love how he's developed in his career. He went over to Europe. He learned a ton. His disposition on the sideline and with his team is phenomenal. And every time I get the opportunity to pursue his time, I renewed one of my licenses and chose to do it with Columbus last year just to be able to spend the week with him. And him and he's very supportive of our program. He's been texting throughout the course of the year as I have with his big time victory last week. But in the end, those are decisions that are well above me. And I think that anytime young people can watch the game at the highest level, it's a positive. So if that means that the city of Austin is ready for an MLS franchise, and now we only have to drive 20 minutes from home to see that, that would really, really excite me. So that would be my thoughts on the Columbus Crew.
How about sharing the venue perhaps with lockers?
Well, I think once again that's a decision that is going to be made above me. And I just mentioned 2 minutes ago the how grateful I am for the support of Chris Plonsky, Mike Perrin. This whole the president's fantastic. This whole administration always looks out for our best interest. And if they tell me that the MLS team is going to share our facility, then I'm going to say, okay, great. I'll be looking forward to watching them train.